A very good morning, children. Today we will continue with the third part of Chapter 9, Environmental Management. We know that there are various events which take place in the environment which causes a huge loss to life and property. Such events are called as disasters. Disasters can be divided into two: natural disasters and man-made disasters. Natural disasters can be lightning, flood, fire, etc. And man-made disasters can be accidents, bomb explosions, chemical accidents, riots, stampede, etc. Okay. Now, the damage which these disasters cause, it can be minimized through a process that is called as disaster management. Okay, so today we will be learning about disaster management, where you will learn what are the things which one needs to do when there is some kind of disaster or when there is some kind of unusual event that is happening in one's own life. Okay. Now, in the earlier classes, we learnt about disaster management for flood, for lightning, for accidents, for fire. We have learnt a lot about natural disasters and what one needs to do under such circumstances. But today in this chapter, we will be learning about what all can one do when the disaster is at a personal level. That is, what can one do when a person has cardiac arrest or bleeding, fracture, burn, sprains, twisting. So this is all those events which take place at a personal level. And what are the things which one can do to avoid the damage to health such that you can prevent the death of the person. Okay, so to be very specific, we will be learning about first aids to be taken during certain disasters, and from that we will be discussing the first one, that is cardiac arrest. Always remember, the main objective of the first aid is to prevent the death and also to make sure that the health of that patient is maintained till the time he gets rehabilitated or he gets a proper medical assistance. Okay, now if a person has cardiac arrest, there are 3 steps to be followed, and the steps can be remembered as ABC. Okay, airway, breathing, and circulation. These are the 3 things which one needs to do when a person has cardiac arrest. Let's look at that. First, airway. If in case you find out that the victim or the patient has difficulty in breathing, then what should be done? If the person has difficulty in breathing, you pull up the chin of the person. That is, you push his chin in the upward position such that the respiratory passage, it opens up and the person gets help in breathing. So airway, that is A of this step, is normally when the person has difficulty in breathing. B. If breathing has completely stopped, then what has to be done? The patient has to be given a mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. What does that mean? You blow air into the mouth of the patient such that the patient actually gets in air. That is the second step, B, that is breathing. Third step, if the victim is unconscious, okay, then what do we do? After giving the person mouth-to-mouth respiration twice, then the heart should be pressed down hard by pressing the chest with both the palm. And these 2 actions of mouth-to-mouth resuscitation and pressing the chest of the patient should be done alternatively about 15 times. This entire process is called as CPR, that is cardiopulmonary resuscitation. This process of ABC helps to bring back the circulation of the patient back to normal till the time the patient actually gets the medical assistance. So this is what needs to be done when a person has got cardiac arrest. Going on to the second one, bleeding. If the patient is injured and is bleeding through the wound, then the wound should be covered with an antiseptic pad and the pressure should be applied on it 5 minutes. With either the thumb you can apply the pressure or with the palm you apply pressure on that area. Next is fracture. If in case any bone has got fractured, then it is very important that that particular part is immobilized. Immobilized means what? That part should not be moved. Now this can be done with the help of some wooden rods or rulers, or simply it can be tied with a cloth as shown in the picture. Now, this is when some part of the bone is fractured. If in case the vertebral column or the back of the patient is injured, then the entire body should be kept immobilized, and this can be done by allowing the patient to lie down on a very firm stretcher. Burns. If the victim has burnt injuries, then the injured part should be kept under clean and cold flowing water for at least 10 minutes. Rice. Rice is a treatment that is normally given for injury like sprain, twisting, etc. RICE stands for rest, ice, compression, elevate. Rest is where you allow the victim to sit in a very relaxed position. Second is ice, where you apply the ice pack to the injured part. Third is compression. This is where the injured part is massaged very gently. And fourth is elevate, where the injured part is kept in an elevated position. So RICE is rest, ice, compression, elevate, which is normally followed during sprains and twisting. Now, whenever any person has got injured, okay, there may be many ways or many circumstances where you will need to transport the patient, or you will need to move the patient from one place to another. At such circumstances, there are various methods of transporting the victims or transporting the patient. We will look at each method one by one. First is the cradle method. Cradle method is where the patient is lifted up with both your hands. This is normally used for children and for underweight patient or for underweight victims. Second method is carrying piggyback. Now this is where this is normally done when the patient is unconscious. So the patient is carried on the back and transported from one place to another. Third is human crunch method. Now this is normally done under circumstances where the patient has got hurt on one of his leg, and that is why minimum load has to be applied on that injured leg. In such circumstances, human crunch method is used, where you're supporting the victim and minimum load is given on the injured leg. Pulling or lifting method. This is normally done for unconscious patient, but only in circumstances where the patient has to be transported only over a short distance. If the patient who's unconscious needs to be transported over a long distance, then you use the piggyback method. This is carrying on four-hand chair. When there are two people who are ready to help or carry or transport the victim from one place to another, they need to hold their hands in such a way that a chair is formed. Onto this, that is shown in picture A. Onto this, the patient is allowed to sit. Now this four-hand chair is normally followed in circumstances when support is needed below the waist of the patient. This is carrying on two-hand chair. Now when will you use four-hand and when will you use a two-hand? Two-hand is normally used when the patient is not able to use his hand to hold their body upright. Okay, in such circumstances, when the patient is not able to use the hand, at that time the back of the patient needs to be supported, and that is why a two-hand chair is being used. Stretcher. There are many circumstances when we need to transport patients through stretchers. However, in an emergency, if a conventional stretcher is not available, then we can make a temporary stretcher also with the help of bamboo or blanket. This is a technique or a method that is normally used by fire brigade. That is when the patient or the injured person needs to be transported by single person. In such cases, such a method is normally used by fire brigade. I hope this chapter is clear. Thank you.